going on, boys? Welcome back to the podcast. I am back once more with the main bestie, Zombie,
That is, yeah.
wearing the Death Note
Yeah,
sweater right
the
now.
Death Note. It's like one of my favorites.
Didn't you wear that last time we did the podcast?
I wear a Demon Slayer shirt.
Oh,
Excuse
okay.
you?
My bad,
Excuse
my
you?
bad. That was a cool one, too.
Thank you, thank you.
But, anyways, getting into the topic of the day, right? This is kind of a bit more reflective, a bit more / SRS, if you will, compared to. I can't stand myself.
Oh, I can think of Garfield. I'm sorry.
Anyways, so with that out of the way, right? It's just this kind of whole topic of just relationships that will never be the same as they once were, you know? And I think like a really easy example to throw out for this one would be like, you know, you got yourself a sweetheart, doesn't really work out. And after that, it's just like my parents, when I was younger, like in middle school and stuff, I had little crushes and stuff. They'd always warn me like, hey now, don't be falling for this person because you're really good friends and then you'll ruin it, you know? And it's like most people I have had relationships with in the past, we've been able to like way after the fact be okay with each other, be casual, kind of even sometimes still be friends, you know. But I'm talking about a more specific example, right? So did you kind of want to try to explain it a little bit? Oh, like with our friend group, you know.
That friend group.
The last episode about 5 weeks ago, we talked about quarantine nostalgia. You know.
Yeah. I guess just trying, like, expounding upon how getting unlocked down kind of changed that.
Yeah, just kind of like, I mean, like, so like what I mean is, our friend group, right? We've talked about it before, like on that podcast a lot.
Yeah.
About how we got each other through it. And stuff like that, you know, and about how every day in online school we'd have the Discord server open talking to each other, you know. And I guess just my thought was that, you know, I mean, we've talked about it before. Yeah. This idea that, like, as a group of friends, we could never, ever be as close again as we were then. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have anything you'd, like, want to expand on about that?
I mean, I guess I don't necessarily think I think it's not necessarily that, well, now we can't really be that close of friends again. We can't necessarily do the whole, like, every night play Minecraft thing anymore. And just a bunch of other reasons. Like, sadly, one of the friends in that group moved away.
That is true.
And it's just, I don't know. I think it's kind of, we're friends in a different way now. And I don't know.
It's like we're still there for like as a group, we're all still there for each other.
Yeah.
But we don't. It's just like we were so close because we relied on each other.
Yeah.
You know, and we always like that was it. Yeah. You know, that was for all the four of us. That was like that little group was like our social interaction because I didn't at that time in my life I didn't have many friends outside of you guys. You know, and just. I mean, like I said, we relied on each other a lot. And, like, it's not as though, you know, all the situations with quarantine, like, I'm not saying that was a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's just this idea that it won't, and that's, like, the whole point of what we want to talk about here is just that knowing that it won't be the same again. And it's like, what do you, and I guess it's more so, like, you got to live in the moment. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you never know how things are going to change, you know, whether it be with a friend in a relationship or even with like a family member or something. You have to appreciate the relationships you have with people as they come because, you know, now is now. You know what I mean? And I mean, did you have anything to say about that idea?
I mean, yeah, I think it's really easy to, especially since we're like, kind of at that age where we're thinking about like going to college and moving away. I think it's really easy to like, I guess, get existential, like whenever I'm just like sitting down, talking with some of my closest friends, people that I would never imagine having, like, not be a part of my life, and just sitting down and realizing that there's a good chance that one day I probably won't have this with them.
Exactly, yeah.
It's really easy to just get existential in that aspect. But as you said, I think it is important to enjoy the time you have with them now, even if, like, not in like a they're gonna die sort of way necessarily.
Yeah.
But like, just, you never really know what the future holds, and it's just, it's a sad thought to have, but it's one that you can't really, I guess, focus too much on.
Yeah, because you got to be focused on enjoying where you're at now, you know, with people.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, like with the family member side of things, you know, like especially like grandparents and stuff.
Yeah.
Just, you know, it's like, you kind of think about like how often do you see them, you know, and the knowledge that, you know, obviously at some point that they will pass, and just kind of, like you said, getting existential, just the thought that the amount of times you'll see them again is limited. You know what I mean? It's just about, I mean, like, as of recording, it's going to be Thanksgiving soon.
Yeah.
This video is probably going to be up in, like, March.
Hey guys.
But we recorded this in November, you know. And, yeah, it's just, like, I'm going to see my family this Thanksgiving, and that's just an experience I want to make the most of.
Yeah.
And, like, this winter I'm going on a cruise with my family because, you know, my grandfather, his health is starting to get worse, and, you know, it's in small ways. It's still, but, you know, it's just, I can sense he's getting more tired. You know, and just knowing that this cruise, they want to do it because they think it's going to be one of the last big things we can all do together. That's just, it's not like he's, like, it's not like he's that old. Like, but he's not going to be able to get around and do that kind of thing anymore, you know? And I guess it's just, you know, to me, like, the thought of losing, because I've never really had a major family loss before in my years, but I couldn't imagine that, you know? And I mean, obviously all of us have intrusive thoughts and, like, think about what would happen if people closest to us were to die, you know? That just happens.
Yeah.
To get really existential. But, like, the thought of it really happening is just, you know, like, I wouldn't be able to believe it in a way, you know?
Yeah.
So that just, again, speaks to this whole idea that you have to cherish what you have, you know?
Yeah. It's not a fun thing, obviously, but I think really all you can do is, as you said, you know, enjoy the time you have. And it's just, it's really rough. It's hard, 'cause, like, life still moves on even after people enter and leave. You still keep going, and it's just, can be really rough. But I guess it's just really, it's a part of life. And it's just people entering and leaving one way or another, not necessarily, like, just maybe not, you're just not friends anymore, or things like that. And it's just, I mean, it's rough. It really is.
Yeah, for sure. Just, but, you know, I guess you never really expect to lose someone.
Yeah.
You know, you can't ever really predict that.
No.
I mean, like, obviously for like our friend group, it's not that dramatic. Like,
No.
we can all still talk.
Yes.
It's just that we aren't as close as we used to be. But do you have any other, like, major experiences you'd want to share about, like, having someone kind of, like, not be as big a part of your life in, like, any way as they used to be, you know?
I think the one thing I can really, I guess, kind of think of is, it was actually one of the friends in that group that when we all went back to in-person school, and they didn't. And this person, they were, like, one of my best friends. And that was, I don't know, it was rough to, like, not have them there at an in-person school. And I I wish I like reached out to them more during that time. I mean, I could make excuse after excuse of like, oh, I was too busy or like things like that, but like I really wish I did kind of reach out to them. I'm lucky now that they're back at school and we still hang out and we talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I
No,
just
I know, I
yeah.
totally get what you mean. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I lost a sense of connection to that person when, like, yeah, like, because all of us were busy with our own lives, with school being, because, like, we weren't able to talk
Mhm.
all the time, like we could have when we were all online.
Yeah.
But when almost all of us, but then went back in person,
Yeah.
suddenly it's just like they became distant from, like, literally distant from us. Like,
Yeah.
we just never saw them, you know? So I totally get where you're coming from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm very glad that they're like, I don't know, I talk to them like almost every like day and night. Not like all the 24/7 I wake up, get on a call, but like, I talk to them very often now and I'm very thankful and I'm just thankful that I can still have that, I guess, with them and I don't know. I think it really made me think about, I guess, kind of the effort I need to put forth, I mean, to keep my relationships and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, that's the other thing too, is sometimes things just fizzle out, you know, and it's so easy to get in your own head and be like, oh, maybe this person doesn't want to talk to me, or
Yeah.
oh, I don't know if I know what to say or know how to
Exactly.
approach them. But it's a matter of like, I mean, obviously things need to be mutual, right? But to some extent, it's a matter of, if you aren't going to do it, is it ever going to happen?
Exactly.
When it comes to reconnecting with someone, you
Yeah.
know? And like, again, like, it's not always on you to do it. It
Yeah.
should be back and forth. But it's just, you need to have that urgency of like, if I don't talk to this person, like, will we really just lose each other like that? And I mean, like, sometimes that's okay for that to happen. That's just, I mean, people will come and go out of your life, but I guess in one of the podcasts, I believe it would have come out by now. I think I don't even remember who I did it with. But no, I in some video on my channel somewhere in the past or future, I talk about how yeah, it was with Lucas. Our video about making friends. I believe that's out. I think. Anyways, yeah, I'm 90% sure it is. But either way, this whole idea I've had of, you know, for me personally, it's like I Lucas is the kind of person who more gets to know a bunch of different people and just meets everyone and becomes friends with everyone.
Yes.
You know? And I can also do that, you know, I can talk to people. And especially, I feel like one of my strengths is I have different kinds of friends, you know? I have very, like, introverted, like, kind of, like, niche friend groups, you know?
Yeah.
And then I also have more, like, kind of, like, I just have a bunch of different types of people that I'm close to, you know? And I interact with people in different ways. Like, I have a friend that one of the main ways we communicate is by writing letters, you know, and I have other friends that I just see them in person, and, you know, I talk to over Discord, you know, and
I'm
it's
the
like,
gamer friend.
exactly. It's like, but I feel like for me personally, I know who my closest friends are, and that's like what's most important.
Yeah.
You know, like my small inner circle of like that few people who I really know are going to be there for me.
Yes.
And that's like, that's what I focus on, you know, because it's like, when it comes to losing people, you know, sometimes losing people is okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's even healthy.
Yes.
But for me, and when it comes to like, if the relationships you want to put all that effort into, because there are only like people can only have so many super close friends,
Yes.
and then so many close friends, and then so many acquaintances, you know.
Yeah.
And for me, it's about finding the people that really make you feel the best about yourself, you know, that really interest you the most.
Yes.
You know, those people, focusing on those connections, and no matter what, not letting go of that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, so like, this person that you feel like you kind of lost connection with, would you say like, that was kind of like that situation where you realize that you didn't want to lose them because they meant
Yeah.
too much to you?
Yeah, I've known them since like second grade. We've
That's
been
crazy. I mean, like, you're one of like the longest friends I've ever had, and we we met each other in middle school. You know, I
Yeah.
don't have any of those like really really young friends.
Yeah, I've known this person since like second grade, and they, oh my gosh, they were like my ride or die, and it was just, I don't know, it was difficult to like, initially kind of like, keep up with them, and then just days it kept going to the point where like I wouldn't DM them, and it just kept going, and like the days kept getting longer, where like the gap between our last messages that we've had or things like that, and
Mm-hmm.
it just kept getting, I guess, harder for me to like, I don't know, hype myself up. And I remember like I tried to like get them into this Minecraft server that was like whitelist exclusive sort of thing, and it was just, I tried, but I think I remember it was the first day of back in person school, and I saw them there at the bench. They were like real. They like were there at school, and I just remember I just went up and I like absolutely like I just gave them the biggest hug, which is not something I do usually.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was so happy to see them, and I just realized at that moment that it's like they're a person that I want to have in my life. And I really wish I made more of an effort. But I'm just so glad that I have the ability to talk to them, and like I'm just so happy that they're in my life now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I think that's because I mean, like you said, you're not the kind of person to just hug
No,
your besties
I
randomly. You
am
know,
not.
so that really must have meant a lot to you.
It did.
You know,
I was so happy to see them.
yeah, and I think that really just speaks to the importance of being able to see people in real life like that. You know,
Yes.
I think, like even though I say that like we were inseparable during like the four of us were inseparable during lockdown, right? But it was still so like I remember the first time I saw that person like in person too. I think we must have like gone bowling that one time or something like last year.
Yeah.
But but yeah, like it was just such an interesting experience, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
I totally understand what you mean there.
Yeah.
So I guess my sentiment on that would just be to find those people that you don't want to let go of.
Yeah.
And then focus on that. You know, if you have a best friend or best friends that you feel like you haven't talked to in too long, like reach out to them.
Yeah.
You know, make that first step because I'm sure if they took a step back, they would miss you too.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about with this?
I think I think I talked about all I wanted to. I think pretty much.
And were there any different directions you kind of wanted to take this whole idea in?
I mean, I guess there's always like the direction of like cutting people off intentionally as well.
Yeah.
You go into. I've really only had to do that, I think, once in my life, where I just kind of had to let someone go. And I mean, I'm grateful that I've only really had to do that once, and it wasn't even really that like huge of a deal or huge of a falling out. But I don't know. I think people come and go, and just hold on to the ones that I don't know how to word this. Hold on to the ones you like.
The real ones.
The real ones. Hold on to the real ones.
Keep your real ones on speed dial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But no, I like. So did you always kind of have, even though they may have come and gone, did you always kind of have good friends throughout like elementary school and stuff?
Yeah, I always kind of had. There was really only like, I think now that I think about it, like there was really only one constant, and that was that one friend that I already like talked about. But yeah, I think all of my friendships that I had, like pretty much throughout my, I guess, the majority of them were like, I think really good, really healthy, and I'm very grateful for that I was able to have those relationships and have those good experiences. Obviously not all of them were like great and grand, but I'm so lucky to have that like a majority of my friendships were like positive experiences at the end of the day.
Yeah. I guess that's where you and I differ a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I've talked to you about it before, and I've talked about it on the channel before, you know, and I said it today, until I met you, like, you were, I think, maybe other than, like, one friend I had. But the thing with that person is that we were in, like, like a kind of a toxic three-way friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came down to it, when me and person number 3 fell out,
Mm-hmm.
person number 2 went on their side, you know?
Yeah.
And that left me alone for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I think maybe because that person and I were really close. In that group of 3 friends, we all were really close. But it definitely was not healthy.
Yeah.
And every time I would come back from a sleepover, I would be sad.
No.
Because it wasn't good, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it might sound melodramatic, but like truly, like, you were the first person that I feel truly cared about me, you know? And that's so sad because we met when I was like 13 or something,
Yeah.
you know? And it's like, or no, it must have been later than that. It must have been like more like
14?
15 even for me, I think.
Yeah.
When I was quite a bit older, but yeah, I mean, again, I am, but I think, and I've also talked about this before, right? I think that even though I wouldn't wish, that upon anyone to go through literally sitting completely alone at lunch, having an entire table to myself, or having toxic friendships or friends that, you know, didn't treat me well, or, you know, just not being able to get along with the kids or find my spot in life for the longest time, you know. Even though I wouldn't ever want anyone to go through that, I still think that made me who I am, you know. And I guess, like, the whole premise of this podcast is talking about friendships that are still there but are just different now.
Yeah.
You know, that was kind of like the specific example I had in mind. But there is, I mean, you brought up the idea of cutting people off and having that kind of thing. I mean, I can think back and still pick out good memories I've had with some of these people.
Yeah.
But I know at the end of the day that ultimately it was not good for me.
Yeah.
You know? And that's just like, that was the thing. As a kid, I was just looking for, like, someone to have fun with. You know, just someone to have as a friend. And like I said, there were good times, but, you know, I think that it led me to be as confident and able to spot those issues as I am now, you know? And I mean, kind of like with relationships too, in a way. You know, I was and still am, frankly, a hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
You know, you think that after sending a girl an unsolicited song for the first time, I would have learned, but no, I did not learn, you know, but like, even as far back as like 5th grade when I had like my first real crushes that seem foolish now, of course, but to me it was as real as it could have been.
Yeah.
Like, you know, those are, like, my parents told me if I took it that far with people, I would never get them back the same way. And even though it is kind of, I guess, sort of low-hanging fruit to talk about, oh, you break up with someone, it's not the same anymore.
Yeah.
But it's true that, like, I lost a lot of friends because of that. You know, like, when I mentioned my 3-way friend group that wasn't very healthy for me, right? I met a girl during that time who did care about me and who would talk to me and take me seriously and wasn't an asshole. You know, and like, that person meant a lot to me. And my problem always was that I would become really, really close friends with these girls and I just couldn't help but fall for them.
Yeah.
You know, because I like women.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, who doesn't?
you get me. But yeah, it's just like, and the thing is, throughout a lot of my life, these girls who I eventually had relationships at one point were my best friends, you know? And like, just the thought that I mean, I can think of several examples of people that we ended up. I liked them a lot. They ended up eventually falling for me as well, and then after a little while of middle school cringe dating, it fell apart, and then that was it. You know?
Yeah.
And like I said, I was able to later reconnect with a lot of these people. And there was even one person that I ended up dating a second time, but that's a story for a different day. But like, that is true that like at one point they were just friends for me, you know? Mm-hmm. And then through me just being hopelessly horny, you know, to put it very not eloquently. But like, you get what I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, that is one way that just I lost people in a way.
Yeah. And
I don't think I regret those experiences that I had, because I think I learned about myself in a very different way.
Yes.
From all the relationships that I've had. But that's kind of in a different way where you lose people. And I guess that's more so just the natural ebb and flow of people coming in and out of your life, you know?
Yeah. So true.
So true. I mean, do you have anything to comment on with that?
I mean, I would say, I have a very different approach to that whole sort of thing than you do. So I
quite
guess, quite a bit. I'm not as much of a go-getter when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think
go-getter. That's a funny way.
Go-getter. Go-getter.
Literally, go get her.
Go get her. Go. But yeah, but yeah. I guess that is a good point. I guess it's not really an experience I guess I've necessarily had too often, but I think I think a lot of people can relate to having the experience of like, oh, I really like this person, but I don't want to ruin what we already have together.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I think it's always a tricky situation. It's never like it's just tricky. Life's tricky. Relationships are tricky.
Because I mean, there's the whole cliche of like getting friend zoned and like girls being like, oh my gosh, I want someone who's like exactly like you. And then you're like, why not me? And she's like, well, we're too good of friends.
Exactly.
You know, I don't know if that actually happens in real life, but I know what does happen is, you know, all of my relationships have started off as friendships, like I kind of said, and like with some people it gets to the point where you're so close to them that, like you said, you worry about ruining it because you don't want to lose those people, and even though you feel for them, it's like you know that it would never be the same. Once you take, that's what my parents always told me, is once I take that step, you'll never get it back. Yeah. You know? And I think I did have one experience that did kind of defy that idea, but it's a different story. But yeah. I mean, I am grateful that that worked out the way it did.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I guess kind of I cracked into that whole like relationship side of things. Was there anything at all else you wanted to expand on, or a different direction you wanted to take?
I don't know, not that I can think of.
I mean, I think we pretty much hit it.
Yeah. I think we did.
And I guess just to recap the whole sentiment that, you know, if there's someone out there that you care about, just that you don't want to lose, then just hold on to them, you know?
Yeah.
That's the seize the day moment of the day.
Shoot him a Discord DM.
Exactly. Hit him with the
ba-dup. Or like or like, I don't know what Apple. Why can you do that so
hit him with the
oh gosh. This next
you know,
this podcast is an hour and it's just you making various notification noise. Oh my god, it's or like, what do those Apple users do?
Hit him with a da 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 da.
They have the pigeon games where you can like play 8-ball. Hit him with an 8-ball.
Hit him with a bum 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 bum.
Why do you know so many? Why? I can't. I don't even think I can think of one. Like, all I can think of is the Discord ones.
What is the Snapchat notification noise?
I should know this because, like, everybody...
I deleted Snapchat so long ago, I can't remember it now.
Everybody in my math class has, like, their phones on, and it's always Snapchat notifications. I forgot. What is it?
Is it just like da-da?
Something like that.
Like, just two quick buzzes?
I don't, something like that. I don't know.
IDK.
IDK.
With a booking.
Oh my god. Yeah.
My grandma always had the text notification on the Apple that on the Apple on Apple that goes like bum, 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 bum. And it's like so intense. I'm like, wow.
Very excited about. Wow. Imagine. I can't.
Who's scam likely and why are you always calling me from California though?
I know. Mine's from Ohio. Like not even
Can't trust Ohio.
Can't. If I hear one more Ohio joke.
But yeah, I think before we derail too heavily, I think we wrap it up here.
Sure.
I think we already did wrap it up with the whole idea that, you know, reach out to someone you care about.
Yeah.
And I mean that's the,
you know, tell your mom you love her, or your dad, or
old pops,
or your bestie,
or Gram,
your worst enemy,
anyone, you know?
anyone, your cat.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that'll be it for us today.
Yeah.
Daddy Big, signing off.
Just end it before we start laughing profusely.